Okay, so openSUSE have just released Leap version 15.2. So what we're going to do is install it to disk, use it for a couple of days, and then do a follow-up video of a review. So what we're going to do today is just install it and just set it up for those days. So we've just booted into the USB now, and we're in the installer. I do really like the openSUSE installer. It has a bit more sort of control that you can do as opposed to, say, the Ubuntu Ubiquity installer. So you can do like manual selection of packages, and you can be a bit crazy with your disks and stuff. But what we're going to do is just go for a very standard installer. So we're going to test out the keyboard. That is all well and good. So let's go for next. So it's probing the system for USB, FireWire, hard disks and system files and the software manager. So it's detected that we've got a network connection, so we are going to activate the online repositories now. By default it will select these four here, and they're the four that we're going to leave. We're not going to check anything else, but you also have the update repository for debug, untested updates, source repository and debug repository, but those four will be just fine. So we're going to go next. So now it's just adding those lists, well, writing the list of online repositories. Shouldn't take too long, maybe a minute. Your installer time will vary as well if you're doing it with a network connection, because obviously it's going to be downloading packages. So it's going to depend on your network speed. It's not the fastest installer ever, I will say that. Okay, it should be, there we go, so it's initializing the installation now. Right, so we've got a choice of a few desktops here. So KDE Plasma, GNOME and generic, which I think might be XFCE, I could be wrong though. And then we have server and transactional. So I've been reading the release notes, and the desktop versions of each one is GNOME is 3.34, KDE Plasma is 5.18 and XFCE is 4.14. So for that reason I'm going to go for KDE Plasma, because 5.18 just feels a bit more fresh than the other two. So we're going to go for KDE Plasma and go next. Okay, so we're going to let it do just the automatic partitioning, and what that's going to do is give us the BTRFS, which is the default for openSUSE. It's going to give us a 2 gig swap, and then it's going to give us a boot EFI of 500 meg. I don't know if you quite need 500, I usually do 300, but that's not too much of an issue there. So we're going to go for next. So it's synchronizing NTP server with openSUSE pool.ntp.org. Okay, so now you can choose your location. It's automatically found us, which is of course United Kingdom, and that'll be for your clock and time zone. So we're going to go next. Right, here's where you're going to do user account. So I'm going to use a very generic dictionary password, and it will warn you that that's not a safe password. I don't recommend anyone else does it on a machine that's like your actual machine, but as I'm doing this just for a review unit, I don't really care about that. So we're just going to do our user accounts. We're going to do our password, and as you can see it's automatically checked, password to system administrator and automatic login, which is perfect. So we're going to go next, and it's going to give us a prompt. There we go. So the password's too simple, it's a dictionary word, but like I said, we're not too worried about that, so we're just going to go for yes. And like I said at the beginning, how you can sort of manually choose which software you want. So if you actually click these things, they're all clickable. So if you click software, you'll then have a lot more choice of what you want to do, even down to the graphical environment. So you might find that you want to install the Enlightenment desktop, and you can do that straight from the installer, which is very cool. So let's get out of that. And by default we're getting the minimal base system, the enhanced base system, AppArmor, KDE Plasma and the desktop applications. Office software, which will be LibreOffice, I'm going to imagine. I'm sure you can change it in software though. Games. Can we get rid of games? I don't want games. Let's have a look. Do we have a part for games? There we go, look, games. We don't want games. So how cool is that? We can just do that, and then that will remove that from the software selection, and then we won't install things like KPatience and stuff. Okay, cool, that's all good. That's good. So here as well you can change a few things. So the firewall will be enabled, that's fine. SSH service will be disabled. We're going to enable it, and we're also going to open the port for it. See what I mean by how you can do a bit more on these installers? I do like it a lot. And network manager is now the default as well. I do believe I read that in the release notes. So we're going to open the port for that, and we're going to install. Click install. So it's going to be quite a large download, probably about 5 gigabytes I do believe, and the ISO was 4 gigabytes. Okay, so you get a timer here. At the moment it's not quite selected at the moment. Usually it takes about 10ish minutes on this computer. Well, that was the last time I checked though, so it might have changed a little bit since then. So what I'm going to do is pause the video here, and then when I return we'll be booting into the actual environment. Okay, so we're just starting up now, booting into the fresh environment. I have quickly installed HTOP off camera and then rebooted and changed it to start with an empty desktop session. That way we can get a RAM reading and see what you guys are going to get out of the box before I go crazy and install a load of nonsense basically. So what we're going to do is open up HTOP very quickly. So we're using 615 megabytes of RAM. That's pretty good, you know. I'm quite happy with that. So 611 megabytes RAM. We've got a 2 gig swap that it was created in the installer. No, that's all good so far. So what we're going to do is have a little look around, and then we're going to just start setting it up for how I'm going to use it for the next couple of days for the follow-up review. So it's quite a standard KDE affair. We have the panel at the bottom with our workspace switcher there, application launcher there, and then of course your system tray and show desktop button to the right. It's got the very classic old school openSUSE wallpaper. I think this is quite an old wallpaper now. I think they could probably do with getting some newer ones, to be honest. Right, so first of all, let's see what this thing comes installed with. So bear in mind we deselected games, so we won't have any games here. So we have, graphics wise, we have GwenView, LibreOffice Draw, Ocular and Scanlight. In internet we have aggregate of your RSS feed reader. So Firefox is obviously your default web browser. Comes with all the KDE stuff like KDE Connect, Kmail, Conversation. So it's even got Mutt as well, the email client there for terminal based emails, if that's what I'm thinking it is. And then we have Tiger VNC as well, the viewer to view VNC connections. And then in multimedia, looking very bare, we have the one package which is VLC Media Player. That's fine though, to be honest. We don't need much more than that just for viewing media. We will install some stuff like Kden Live that will go in there though. Office wise, you have again a lot of the KDE stuff, so like K-Address, Book, K-Organizer. So the full LibreOffice suite, like I said though, we could have probably changed that in the install when we was doing software selection, but we're going to want to be using that anyway throughout the week, so that's fine. Settings wise, very bare again, so you're just going to have system settings for KDE, which we will pop open in a moment just to, you know, get some of the settings how we want it. The Wacom Tablet Finder, and Yast, yet another software tool. So some people hate it and some people love it. I'm not too fussed either way, to be honest. I think it's quite a handy little program, to be fair. It's got a lot of the stuff that you might want to do in a terminal in a nice easy to use GUI. You can also do things like snapshots here. Because of the default BTRFS file system that openSUSE uses, you can do full BTRFS snapshots there. We won't do one now because it might take a bit of time, but it's fairly simple. You just create a snapshot and then away you go, and then you can obviously restore previous snapshots. So it's got a couple there already by default. We have the first root file system, Zipper. So Zipper's your command line package manager. We'll have a look at that in a moment as well. So what else can we do in here? You can do kernel settings, partitioner, LGAP, firewall. You can configure sudo. You can install hypervisor tools for virtualization. That's pretty cool. Online updates. You can manage your software, and yeah, you can do quite a lot with all within this little window, to be fair. So let's keep going. That was in, what was that in? That was in system, wasn't it? So in utilities, we have again a lot of the KDE stuff that you come to expect in a KDE desktop. Is there anything there out of the ordinary? No, I don't think there is. Right, what we're going to do then is jump into the global theming. So the default theme is of course openSUSE. There doesn't appear to be an openSUSE dark one installed out of the box. I don't know if they have one, to be honest. We have Breeze Dark and also Breeze. So what we're going to do is just grab a very simple theme for now. We're just going to get the Arc theme for the moment, as per usual. And then we'll also get the Arc icons once that's installed. It will prompt us for a password though. Will it? Pretty sure it will. Any minute now. No, it won't. Okay, interesting. Right, we're going to apply that. Hopefully we don't have to do any reboots just yet to get things looking how they should. So now we want to grab our icons. And we want to get, again, Arc icons. So if we go to get new icons. I do like the way sort of openSUSE sets up KDE. It's very sort of vanilla, to be fair. There's no sort of flashiness installed out of the box. Okay, I think that's installed them. No, that's still going. So we have a workspace switcher here, or a virtual desktop, and it's done it in rows, whereas I prefer just one row and 4 desktops because I don't like going up and down to switch workspaces. I like to go left to right. It feels more natural, and it's the way XFC does it as well. The only like big desktop environment that doesn't, I think off the top of my head, is GNOME. Obviously it goes up and down in the activities overview. So what we're going to want to do is configure the virtual desktops as well. So we're going to pop open this, as you can see there, so it's 2 rows and you can have more desktops, so you can have like a 4-way grid, but I prefer 1 row like so, and then 4 desktops. So if you watch this little switcher, what that's going to do is like turn it on its side and then expand it to 4, like that. There we go. We will be moving that in a moment. I don't like it there, I prefer it here, because what we're going to do is add a global menu there. So that should be our arc icons ready to go. So if we apply those now, it might need a reboot for them to take full effect across the system, so we won't worry about that at the moment. We will do a reboot towards the end though. So that should be us good for that. So what we're going to do now is move this panel, because I'm a panel at the top kind of guy. So we want the screen edge to be up there. Now we want it a bit smaller. It's a bit too big for me, that. Okay, so what we're going to do is remove the task manager, because I'm going to install dock like Latte Dock, which is where I'm going to launch and minimize applications from. So what we want to do now is get this all the way back there, clock and the system tray, as well as the workspace switcher. So we want that there, and then we're going to add a spacer, which is there now. So that will go to there, and we're going to put the global menu just in front of that. That way it will retain its position across reboots. Without that, you might find that everything goes back to the left. So now we want to go to add a widget, which is somewhere, there it is, and we want the global menu. Always use a global menu, love a global menu. So if we pop it there, that should be all good. Right, so if we get out of that, okay, cool, that's looking good to me. So what we're going to do is jump into, there's a couple of ways you can manage packages obviously on openSUSE. You have whatever desktop software store, so on KDE it'll be Discover. So we'll show you how it works with that. What we'll do is we'll grab Kdenlive from here for now. And do we have Flatpak installed out of the box? Let's just have a quick look. Flatpak, no command specified. Yeah, so we have Flatpak, otherwise it would tell you to install it. So we have it there. So we've got Kdenlive, we're going to grab that. And we're just going to double check where it's installing from and the version number. Okay, cool, so the version's quite a nice recent one, which is 20.04.2, so that's pretty good. And the source is the repo OSSS openSUSE Leap 15.2. Okay, so we're going to let that do that. That's almost done, it's at 90%. And we're going to want to grab Latte Dock. I can see a hot corner or a screen edge. I don't like hot corners or screen edges. It's one of my biggest sort of pet peeves when I don't realise that I've got it there and then I'm doing some work and then I'll do that and then everything just slaps me in the face and it drives me insane. So we're going to go to System Settings and we're going to get, where is it, let's just type in screen edge. It's in the workspace behaviour. So if we go to screen edges here and we're going to get that for no action and click apply. So now, perfect, that's what we want. Right, so Kdenlive should be finished, that is indeed. So we're just going to search for one more thing in here, then we're going to switch over to their software manager for Yast. So I wonder if we have Latte Dock in here. So Latte Dock is just a KDE dock. Okay, I can't see it in there, so we're going to have to use Zipper. So if we open up the terminal and type in sudo zipper install latte-dock. So hopefully that is in the repo. Okay, it is, but it's from an outdated, that's fine, we don't worry about that. So we're going to install that now. And that's done, so we're going to open up Latte Dock. Like so. So that will appear down here any minute now, there we go. I hate icon zoom, so we're going to sort that out and we're going to so you can see the arc icons have taken effect there, but they haven't taken effect for certain things like that. So when we do a reboot towards the end of the video, it should all look very uniformed and nice. So if we go into dock settings now, and our Windows decorations aren't arc, so we'll sort that out in a moment as well. So if we go to advanced, we want to bring that all the way down to 100, same as that one, and we're going to go into appearance, and we want that to be about 34. Yeah, that's fine. And we want zoom on hover to be non-existent, and then what we want to do is bring the size up to about 95, and that will give it like a more of a dock like background instead of like looking like it's on a plank. So 95, bang, perfect. And because of the theme that we're using, it appears to have the rounded edges, so some themes will have a very sort of blocky straight line that doesn't always look too nice in a dock. So now all we want to do is get rid of this clock here. Okay, and by default that should be set to automatically start. So the way it does it, if you go into system settings, start up and shut down, so the first time you open Latte it should automatically apply it. There we go, so as you can see that's automatically applied. If you didn't want it to start up, just touch that button there. Okay, so now what we want to do is grab some more packages using the YAST one, which is obviously openSUSE specific. So if we open up software, there we go, so you have YAST software, so we're going to open that, type in our password. So I haven't actually used this for like ever, or maybe like the last time was Regatta, which is based on openSUSE. So we have a search box here, so we're going to search for, we want a few things. We want Steam, I think it's got Steam out of the box. There we go, so we're going to grab that. So that's going to grab all this other stuff as well, which Steam requires. And we're going to get GIMP, which is there, and its version, does it say what version we're going to be getting in here? Yeah, so 2.10.12, yep, that's all well and good. So what else do we want? We've got Steam, we've got GIMP. Okay, that'll be for now, so we're going to accept that, and that's going to grab all of these packages. There's quite a few things there it's going to get. Or is that additional stuff? No, that's what we're getting. So we're going to go for continue. Yeah, okay, looks fairly decent, doesn't it really? YAST. Right, so we're going to minimize that, so it's got to get a lot of stuff, like a lot of the 32-bit stuff as well, because of Steam and things like that. So we're going to minimize that, and we're going to leave that to do its business. So what we want to do is see if there's anything else in here, sort of, yeah, it's annoying that the icons don't take effect until you do a reboot. So is there anything else in here that's quite specific to openSUSE that we might want to take a look at? No. Okay, cool. Right, what I'm going to do is see if the FlatHubs repo is in Discover. I think we did have a look at it while we was doing the, oh, what's happened there? That's probably because we're running the software install in here. I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, we'll forget that for now. We'll leave that to do its business. What we can do in the meantime though is we want to set our shortcuts up for the keyboard. So if we go to shortcuts, go to global, and let's just full screen that so we can see what's what. So if we go into KWin and type in desktop, okay, that's also disappeared. It's not liking this, is it? Okay, we might just let that do the install before we do anything else crazy. We'll try one more time. If not, we'll let it finish. So if we go to system settings, and let's get back to our shortcuts, which is here. So KWin, and we're just going to manually search for it. We won't hit enter or anything. So we want show desktop grid to be controlled down. Reassign, and it's going to be the same for everything else that I use, because I'll have to reassign anything with control directionals. So we want switch one desktop to the left to be control left, and the same for right as control right. Switch one desktop to the right, control right. So if we go apply, we'll just quickly see if those have taken effect. There we go, so there's our virtual workspaces, and then obviously you can drag and drop things like that and stuff like KDE. Okay, so that seems to have been finished, so that was fairly straightforward. I didn't mind that software installer. So what we want to do now is get window 2, next desktop, and also next screen, because we have more than one screen. So window 1 desktop to the left, control alt left, and then the same for right, control alt right. Okay, so now we want to find window to next screen. Here we go, windows to next. Oh, hold on, what did we just do? Window 1 desktop to the left. Let me just apply that a moment. Right, we've done the wrong one, so we want to do it here. Window 2 next desktops. Let's do that again. So control alt right. Yep. And then that's for screen, so I'm going to do the same as what you usually find on GNOME, which is super and shift. Like that. And then previous desktop, we're going to go like that. Yep. And in previous screen, we're going to go like that. So if we click apply now, we should be able to move these things across desktops. There we go. Perfect, so that's all working as it should. Now, our programs should be all installed. So we should have Steam there, brilliant. So if we open up Steam and let that do its update. So that's got the nice little icon there. I think that's the default though, isn't it? And then we want to make sure that GIMP is all there and good, so let's just drag that onto our task area. There we go, so the icons are working properly in Latte. So once Steam's finished installing, we're going to do a reboot, get a final RAM reading, and then we'll wrap the video up there. And this is going to be my distro for the next couple of days while we give it a good old review. Let's grab NeoFetch as well while we're waiting. Yep. I'm not sure what the shorthand commands are for Zipper. I don't know if like is installed and stuff. It's been a while, so let's just see how that looks in NeoFetch now. There you go. I do like the icon for SUSE. So we are using, how many packages have we got so far now? So we have 2,541 RPM packages. Okay, that's quite a lot of packages, isn't it? Okay, let's close that. Right, that's still updating Steam for us, so we've got all of our icons there that we might want. We're going to want Steam down there as well though, so we'll wait for it to appear, then we'll pin it to that launcher. Firefox is already there. Brilliant, so Steam's all ready to go. I won't log in just yet. I'll install all my games once this video's finished, and then we'll see how we go. We'll get some little benchmarks on here and stuff. So if we pin that launcher, nice. So what we're going to do now is do a quick reboot, and then we're going to see what the RAM is at boot. I tell you what, let's get a nice little wallpaper as well. Let's go to configure desktop. Okay, so it doesn't really come with any extra wallpapers. I do think they could maybe spruce it up a bit, and we also need to do our Windows decorations. So if we go to Windows decorations, most global themes will change the decorations for you, but for some reason Arc, it just never does, probably because it's quite an old theme and it just hasn't been updated to do it or something. Right, so let's just get a new image from here then. Let's be a bit lazy. Let's grab, there you go, sorted. That'll do. Let's install that. Install. And let's see what it all looks like now. Nice, I like it. Okay, I'm going to do a reboot now, so I'm going to stop recording, and then when we come back, we'll see how much RAM we are using, and I think that'll be it for this video, and then we'll wrap it up there. Okay, we're just booting up. You get your nice little Leap logo there down at the bottom. Let's see how long it takes to start up as well. Not too bad. Splash screen, bang, and we're in. Right, so first things first, let's open up HTOP. So 707, so we've managed to ramp it up by about 100 or so meg. Let's give it a few seconds though, because it'll go down a little bit. A lot of that will just be because of Latte though. Latte does add a little bit of extra weight to a distro, to KDE, when you start up. Okay, though, I'm happy with that. So I don't know if there's going to be a few more packages that we will need throughout these couple of days, but I can't see it getting above 700 megabytes. So no, first impressions wise, it's looking good. Obviously the true test will be after a couple of days, and then we'll come back and sort of review it. Let's make sure that the Arc icons have taken effect. They have after the reboot. Brilliant. I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll also link the release notes as well so you can see what's new. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.